known by the court.
So there's an act governing this?
Yes.
Wow. That's
And
really interesting.
if it's after 1 year and the spouse get to know, the spouse can file for divorce based on that. So you don't want to get into marriage when you have annulment and a divorce staring at you. So for your own good, you want to know where you are. And there's a benefit for that. If you know that, oh, I don't have it, you have a peace of mind, then you know how to live your life. But if you have it or your spouse have it, then you know whether we could go in for early treatment. We could discuss safe sex and how we can plan the family. If you want to pull out, that is fine. But it is important to get to know. And I'm encouraging our men, we love to go for paternity tests to know the paternity of children. But when it comes to our health-wise, sometimes we play with it. And the doctor will tell you, most of the time, women are interested in getting to the hospital. Men, we delay in those things. So I'll plead, before you get into marriage, do that.
So our men, I hope you've heard that. Counselor is pleading with you to go and get tested. But you see, some would say that maybe I know I'm HIV positive, but my count is down. It's kind of undetectable. So what's the need for me to go? All I need to do is, like you mentioned, Counselor, practice safe sex, make sure that I'm not infecting my family members and things like that. Pastor, do you think that this would be maybe a better way to go so that somebody will not be having that kind of stigma over them?
Okay, let me start by saying, in the olden days, before a young guy gets married, actually the family of the guy will go into the family of the lady. So this thing has been there for a very long time. The family of the guy will go into the family of the lady, and they will make sure they've checked thoroughly to see if there is something that can hinder them from getting married. So in the olden days, even though they didn't have the machines we are having in our dispensation, but they did their own check-ins to see if there is a particular illness, there's a particular disease in that family, so it can be dealt with before they enter into what we call marriage. Now, it is only sad in our generation that sometimes when we see that somebody is having an infectious disease, we make mockery at the person, and sometimes we sideline the person. And I tell people always that all of us can be affected by any form of disease, but the fact that somebody is affected by any kind of disease does not necessarily mean the person cannot enjoy life. You understand? So we just have to understand that it is part of our journey. Sometimes life do happens to us. But if I meet somebody and I want to settle with the person, there is that importance, there is that need for us to check. And if I have a specific disease which can be treated, it is much more important that I allow myself for me to be treated, that I wouldn't affect my partner with the same kind of disease. So please, I also insist that there is the need for us to do the check-in, and people should grow making mockery of people who have a specific disease, because the fact that they have it does not mean they are not human beings. We should just let them be happy. We should give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's support them. Let's encourage them, even for them not to commit murder.
Sure. Now, we are speaking based on relationships, but Doc, I wanted to find out from you, what are the other ways that HIV/AIDS can be transmitted? Because currently we are talking about the sexual side of things, but I'm sure there are other ways that HIV/AIDS can also be transmitted. If you can give us a brief on that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amaa, and good morning, everyone here.
Good morning.
Yes, it's a very important topic we are discussing this late morning. HIV is, as we all know, has been existing in this world for some time now. We all know what to do, what not to do, how to take care of ourselves. But it's important to refresh all of us that HIV/AIDS or the HIV virus can be acquired through various ways. It's not only through sexual intercourse. Even an innocent baby that is in the womb can get infected with HIV through no fault of his or hers. So it can be getting through from mother to child, can be gotten through unprotected sex, someone who is HIV positive is not on treatment. Very, very important to note the ARV, the antiretroviral saves a lot of people from getting the infection. So if the person is taking antiretroviral, is the likelihood of one getting HIV is the virus from the person is say 1% or so. It's very, very negligible. So if the person is having HIV, is not treating, then unfortunately you meet with the person sexually, you may also get the infection. Aside this can get HIV from blood transfusion. The blood transfusion is not prepared. But these days don't have those days these types of infection through the blood transfusion in the world, because the blood is well prepared, screened very well before it's given to somebody else. So you can also get HIV/AIDS from somebody who has got a cut bleeding. For example, a person is involved in an accident, or a person has sustained a cut through maybe a sharp object. Then you go to help the person, and the blood touches, a laceration or something, cuts or sore you have in your body. You may also get the HIV virus from that means. And in the European countries, America, etc., the drug pushers, those who use syringes to, multiple people be using the same syringe to, when they are injecting themselves, they can also get HIV through it. So these are generally the means of getting HIV. So it doesn't mean that somebody is promiscuous. That's why he's gotten HIV. So that's a stigma. That's a guilt is in people who are having the virus, but they should not be guilty at all, because many people would have gotten it through maybe birth, or through mother transmitting it to them through placenta, or maybe a friend sustained. They were going to help unknowingly, ignorantly. Maybe they didn't wear anything, then they're going to touch it. It's my brother. It's my friend. It's my classmates. Then maybe they have also a cut on their body, and the person unfortunately may contract it. So these are generally the ways one can get HIV virus.
Right, because the stigma is real. Because I don't know, when you hear HIVs, immediately everybody's their defenses go up. It's like, I can't touch the person and things like this. And before, maybe in the 1980s, people would think that it was spreading rampantly with homosexuals. But now it seems like new cases are coming with heterosexuals as well. Why do you think that is becoming? Do you think it's literally because people are committing infidelity, or they're being more promiscuous, or what do you think that could be?
No, also, okay, let me come in again. HIV virus is real. That's what first you must know. It's real. You shouldn't take it for granted. You can't look at somebody's face. Somebody is kind. Somebody you know a long time, then you unfortunately expose yourself and get it. So that's why we preach abstinence for the young ones. Abstinence if you're not ready to marry. Even the marriage, we're talking about doing the test before. Yeah. What about just going out with somebody? It's my friend, my fiance, it's my then it's real. Don't look at somebody's face. So that could be the reason why people have so much trust in their friends, their colleagues. They give themselves out, especially the ladies. I remember those days. I don't know. They don't talk about it these days. The former first lady, Nana Kunedu, would say, if it's not on, it's not in. That is very, very important.
Yeah.
So if you should have to have a casual, sexual contact, it's better use the condom. So HIV is real. So, like we said, those who were homosexuals were getting more because of the anal area is not used. God didn't create that place to be used for sex, sexual intercourse. So that place is not lubricated enough, just like the vagina. So when there's penetration there, there'll be bruises, there'll be cuts. That's why homosexuals were getting it more.
Right.
But now people are homosexuals and they are having wives and husbands as well. People are heterosexual. That means they are both having bisexual rather. They are doing everything. So if you go through the other way around, you get infected, then you give it to somebody who is doing a normal one. So because of the breakages in the anal area, that's why those who do that, they get it more than those who go through the normal routes.
Okay. So, why would you not want to protect your loved ones? I think that should be something to think about. But do we, other than the obvious of letting somebody know that this is my status, HIV positive or negative. What are the other reasons to test before marriage?
Well, if you are preparing for marriage, you want to get to know people, there are, as I just mentioned, the matrimonial clauses. There are few things that you need to consider. One of them is about pregnancy test. If your spouse you are getting married, the female, the lady in particular, is pregnant for another person, you are not aware about it, and you get married and you find out, that could also be a problem for you.
Right.
Mental health is very serious, so that people take it for granted. It is important that the couples go through such kind of tests to be sure that mentally they are healthy before going to marriage, so that they can have a good relationship, which is one of the things that they could also test about. Besides these tests, I know premarital counseling and so on and so forth has been institutionalized these days, that you go to the church, and even outside the church, these plans are there. We will encourage the couple who are preparing towards marriage to be able to go through this process. They shouldn't wait to be so much in love that they're just waiting for a formality just pass and then they get married. There's something I learned over the week is, even with a woman, when you come to your womb, every month the womb prepare for the fertilized egg or to come in, so that it's actually preparing for a baby. That's what our body does. And if it's not successful, it comes out in form of menses and so on and so forth. It tells you that if you want to receive, you should prepare for what is ahead. So people say, oh, marriage is blessing. When you get married, you receive blessings and so on and so forth. That is very true. But it also comes with your preparations. So there are lots of divorces going on because people didn't prepare very well towards those blessings. They get married and look like the marriage has actually caused them more trouble than being single because of lack of adequate preparation. So as we have in this conversation, some of the things we need to know is, if you don't have that kind of safe relationship, that you trust each other to have a conversation or something like this, people could hide it. People could hide stuff from you. So let's encourage a safer environment. If you are a couple and you're always arguing, you're not listening to each other, then probably your relationship is not healthy, that you have to take into marriage. Because we need to get to a place that we can talk about everything in as much as possible. We listen to understand each other, know where we are, then we can make a decision as a couple or a team to have a successful relationship.
I heard a story of a certain lady. Unfortunately, she was into casual sex work, and she had a friend who was also doing the same thing. Now, unbeknownst to her, her friend ended up sleeping with her cousin's husband, not knowing also that her friend is HIV positive. So now she has to find a way to tell her cousin that you need to go for a test without telling her that your husband is also cheating on you. So in that instance, or in other instances surrounding that, Counsellor, what can you do, or how can you help people who may be in this situation after marriage? Though maybe before marriage they were tested negative, after marriage you've come to now find out you have acquired the virus. How would you counsel somebody in that respect?
If you realize that you have the virus, probably you have gone to the hospital to conduct a test. And the hospital, they do very well. They take the individuals through counseling, just to give them enough knowledge about the disease and what to do, so that they fear that my spouse might reject me, might let go of the relationship, might not find me attractive anymore. Those fears prevent them from even talking to their spouse, because this is something that you have to do voluntarily. We can't force you to do so. And again, your confidentiality is also assured. So sometimes they will ask you, bring your spouse, so that they conduct the test and find out whether your spouse is also going through the same thing. Then we find a way to cancel the two.
Right.
If you're able to do that at the hospital, you still have issues, probably you should say for counseling. What they can do for you is, we look at, you see, the HIV thing is very deadly, gone at the day because of lack of knowledge about stuff like that. But nowadays, you see people even having a disease, living a healthy life. That they can have children without even having passing the virus to the children because of adequate knowledge.
Right.
So sometimes living on fear or no perceptions and then all sorts of stories we have been hearing can mislead you. So I encourage the couple, go to the hospital. If you can go with all your questions, ask, get answers. And after getting all the answers, you have issues, get somebody who is professor to help you with your relationship. So we can take care of some of these things. But the family is important. You've started a family already. A lot of things hold the two of you together. So that living, people think is the best option, but it's more complicated.
It's not easy like that.
And it causes more trouble, not just for you, for other people, the children and the families and so on and so forth. So that people have divorced. Even the second marriage, they take the trouble from the first to the second to the third. So statistics show that even the second marriage is even failing more than the first one.
Right.
So we need to work on the first one. The preparation is key, and when we go in, let's be honest, let's speak about some of these things. Lastly, to add to it, if maybe you reverse stuff like this, your spouse is angry, give them time to cool off, calm down.
Okay.
So that out of anger, we make decisions which are not right.
For the long term.
Yeah.
Now, Pastor, if you have maybe a couple who come to you, they are coming for premarital counseling, they are yet to go for their test, but they are still coming for counseling, and it turns out that one or the other is HIV positive, would you advise them to separate, or would you advise them to continue?
This is a straight bullet. As to for them to separate or not, it will be dependent on them.
Okay.
You understand? Yes, as my brother just said, we cannot force people to do that which they don't want to do. We can only advise them, tell them maybe to go to the right channel to get the right counseling. But as to stay with the person, we can make a decision through the same person. If the person decides that, okay, this is what I want, irrespective of whatever thing the person is going through, I still want to be with this person and still want to make family with this person, as my brother said, then it means the person has been through the right channels, right advices has been given, and the person is ready to take the advice serious. The person is ready to take the medication which he has been given very serious. And I think when the person does that, as doctor said, the other person, the other partner will not have any issue with that sickness, because over the years we have heard people having HIV, they are married and their children never got the HIV, their wives never got the HIV. So if there is much love, there is much understanding between the both of them, and if they think they really want to build something for the future, irrespective of whatever thing might be the results, they can still continue if they want to, and nobody can stop them.
Yeah, because now, well, the little research that I was doing, obviously HIV is no longer a death sentence.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you don't, I believe that the only way to find out if you are HIV positive is to test.
Yeah.
But Doc, I was told that there are self-testing kits that you can use. Are they as reliable as coming to the hospital? And can we even access that here in Ghana?
Yes, I think there are self-testing kits available these days. So you can test it yourself, and usually we do the confirmatory tests, you know. Even in the hospital, for example, where I work, the emergency, when we do it there, we don't just conclude, because a lifelong diagnosis are going to make. So we always go further to confirm it with more sophisticated equipment before the person can be told that you are HIV positive. So there are self-testing kits available, but that should not give you the definitive. You should go ahead and do it at the format.
You should still come to the hospital to get a confirmation.
Yes, confirmed. Yeah, confirmation is very important.
Okay. Yes. Now, Doc, still with you. I mean, somebody may not. Well, let's put this as somebody decides that they don't want to marry at all. Should they still go for their test?
The answer is yes or no. See, like my pastor just said, testing for HIV to know your status, it shouldn't be done only when you are going to marry. You see, there are a lot of things we didn't know before as a people, Ghanaians, a lot of things we didn't know about ourselves. For example, your blood group is very important. You have to know your blood group. It's for your own good. You have to know your sickling status, whether you are sickling SS or AS, and many other things, genetic conditions, a lot of things, even hepatitis B and etc. There are a lot of things you need to know. So the reason why the testing is important during marriage, like Pastor just said, is for you to make the partner or the couple to make an informed decision. You know what you are going to. If it's negative, fine. It will even reassure you to change your lifestyle. Before you know, one of them may be, despite being in a relationship, they are preparing to be doing something else. So once you know that, now you are now to have changed. I've repented. You go to pastor, Father, pray for me. I don't want to go into. So it's for your own good, those things. So if you are positive and you still, like Pastor said, you still want to go ahead, your partner understand, you want to go ahead and be on the medication, the ARV, which is, of course, when you're on it, your partner may not get the virus or be transmitted to your child in case you have to give birth. So all these are there. So I would say that testing for HIV in particular, whether you are going to marry or not, is important to do. For example, where I work, if we do medical examination for all the staff free. Last year we did it, and HIV was part of it. I subjected myself that I wanted to do HIV tests, even though I was not comfortable. I did it, and it was like I'm not doing it outside. You know, but our work is very risky. You can be pricked by a needle and unconsciously and those things. So I did it, and I was negative. I was so happy. So I said, hey, now I have to be extra careful. I don't want any needle prick. I don't do anything to cause problem to my wife, etc. So testing to know your status is always good, not only during premarital counseling or not. So that's what I want to say.
Okay. But I also heard of somebody who paid a doctor to falsify their results. In this instance, what would you do? Because I know I recently got married, and that was in fact, this year I'll be 42, but that's the first time I've ever done a HIV/AIDS test. Yes. So maybe I should I should be going more regularly. But what do you do if later on you find out that this has happened? How do you advise someone? Because yes, it isn't a death sentence, and yes, it's a long-term manageable illness if treated in the early stages and treated well. But how do you, I'll take from all of you, how would you advise somebody? Because maybe you're now married, you've been married for many years, now this has come to drop itself into the mix. How do you help somebody? How do you educate somebody because of the stigma that is still associated with HIV?
Okay, let me quickly take the first part that the results may be falsified. I'll talk about that then. Maybe the counselors and the pastor will talk about the rest. I'm aware that the church I attend, we have medical team, which I'm the lead of that the team. If someone is going to marry, the person comes to me to do the test. And fortunately, my wife too is a nurse. Wow. So the two of us will find a way of counsel the person to do the tests at a recommended laboratory. Don't just walk and do and come and show to the counselor that I've done my test, I'm negative. In that case, it cannot be falsified. So I advise that where preparator counseling is important, testing is important, it should be done as a designated place where medical team members should be parts of the team to make sure the person does the right thing. Right. But not to go and do it at MDS, go and do it and bring it. And like you said, anything can happen. Yes, I think that's where I'll end.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Pastor.
Yeah. We have heard many stories where people got married and later they find out that the other person is having HIV, and in fact it became a whole lot. And I feel sometimes people also in our generation live out of fear, and in our generation we are not plain to each other. We are not very plain to each other. That is why sometimes somebody can be married to somebody even for 20 years and the person still don't know anything about the partner. So I feel if I really want to spend the rest of my life with you, we should be very open. We should have conversations. It is only sad that in our generation, especially Ghana, even when we are dating, we don't have a lot of conversation. The only conversations we have when we are dating is, I called you, you did not answer. Where are you? Where did you go? Who did you call? These are the only conversations we have when we are dating. But you see, I advise people, when we are dating, we have to sit down and talk about everything. I had a premarital counseling, and I told the couple that even if you want to give birth, you discuss everything before you get married. For instance, maybe I want to give birth to 4 children. Maybe the lady just wants only one. We should have discussion before we get married. So in case we may not agree, then we can go our separate ways. Because people are married now, because there is no proper communication even from the onset of the relationship. When they got married, now the woman is saying, I will only give birth to 1 child. The guy is saying, I want 4, and now it has become an issue.
Yeah.
So I feel we should be open to one another. We should be truthful to one another. Let's feel free. We are not hiding anything. Don't let anybody give you pressure. Have a very cordial relationship with your partner where we can talk about everything, irrespective of how the person may see it, because we have to understand one thing. Our level of education is not the same. Where we came from is not the same. Our level of exposure is not the same. The way you will understand things will not be the same way I will understand things. But what will bring the leverage is when we are very bold to communicate everything that we go through. When there is a place where we can talk and have comfort within ourselves, now people can now trust you to tell you what they want to do. So even if there is an issue like that, we know how to handle it and nobody will hear of us.
Right. You are still listening to Star 103.5 FM. This is The Zone with me, Amaa Acquah, counsellor. Kindly let us know what you think and how you think people should be counselled when this happens in the midst of maybe a marital relationship.
I'll plead that people should not see counseling like going to seek for advice. It go beyond advice. So one of the things that counselor would do is to know your perception about marriage. What is marriage to you? How were you influenced? Can we discuss this influence? What can we correct? Because two individuals are not the same. Two marriages are not the same.
Exactly.
So if you get to know where they are coming from, the known, then we can get towards where the unknown is. And when they come up with this kind of sickness and other stuff, people have various theories which are not right. So we need to know from where they are coming from. And then be able to know where they are and the right information so they can start making informed decisions, process their emotions, and be able to take care of some of these anxiety, fears, and so on and so forth. Other part is sometimes when things happen like this, we go to people to seek for opinion instead of having this conversation with our partner to get to the depth of it. So when I find out that I have a condition and I spoke to you about it, and you've gone to speak to other persons, and then I ran out that you have broken this particular trust, there's a problem. And in marriage without a trust, it's very difficult to even continue with that. So our actions, if you are coming to the marriage, just imagine that when you are alone in your room, the things that you do, people doesn't know about it. Are you willing to bring somebody to that room to be aware of those things? If any aspect of your life in that room is something you are not comfortable with, probably you should seek a personal counseling on that or individual counseling on that and get over that before you get into the marriage. The two of us, if we cannot be transparent and see through each other, then our relationship is at risk. And it is a family thing. It's not like just a partnership. I am from somebody's family, and the outside family is my proper family. This one, I just came for marriage. No. It is those family who gave birth to you, who is giving the opportunity to give birth to another family. So please, the kind of respect you give to the former family, give it to the new family. Give it more dedication, more time, more love, patience, and together the two of you can do more.
Right. So we've come to the close, but I would like your final words and submissions as well. Then you can also tell us a bit about yourself, Pastor, your ministry, your counseling, and also the hospital. So, Doc, will you start? Since you're the first to start, you end us.
Yeah. Thank you, Amaa. I think the last words I would like to sound to all of us as a word of advice. You know, I've been in a relationship for many years. This year I was 25 years marriage. Yes.
Congrats.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So, premarital, testing, counseling and testing is very, very important because I'm in the field of medicine practice clinically, and I see a lot of people come to the hospital with conditions their children will be having, and because they did not do the proper testing before, not only HIV, IE, sickle cell, the child will be SS, SC, and the partners didn't know before, they didn't test. Some too are having serial, genetic conditions in their children, and it's like it puts so much pressure on them. So testing for some diseases before marriage, like counselors, I didn't know that it's even enshrined in our books. It's something I think we should encourage all who are preparing to marry to do. It's for their own good. That's what advice I'll give to everybody. It's for their own good, to help them to know their background conditions before going to relationship. About myself, now I've been working in the service for some time now. Radio Hospital, I've been working. Recently, I was at the Bank Hospital, Bank of Ghana Hospital, also working there. So, I don't know what else. I'm an emergency physician, and I've worked for many years. I can't count. I've been for many years. Very soon, I've gone retirement. Wow. In 2-3 years, I've gone retirement. So, I've a lot of experience in family life as well as the clinical work, and I'm a Christian too. Wow. No, I'm somebody who is a believer. Wow. I believe in the principles in the Bible. So I use those things to counsel my patients, my children as well. So let's do the premarital counseling well and do the other testing before we go into marriage. It's a lifelong journey. You can't return. When you marry, don't divorce. You have to be in it to death. Do you apart. Thank you.
So that was Dr. Emmanuel Ahiable, who is an emergency specialist physician.
Yes.
Wow.
And Pastor Randolph, please give us your last submissions.
Wow. I will encourage every individual, as Doc said, we should take our testing very serious, and sometimes you don't need to even wait for you to get married before you do that. Once a while, just walk in there, check everything about yours. And it is only sad that it's in Ghana that we don't like going for lab checks and all that. Yeah. We wait till we have an issue before we go there. So please, once a while, just walk into a hospital, get a doctor you trust, get an hospital you trust, let them work on you if there is something wrong. Because as far as we eat daily, as far as we work daily, we may have issues with our body. That is how the world is designed. We may have issues unknowingly. So once a while, let's go and do checkup. Let's see how the body is doing, and let's exercise more. And if you see somebody you think you want to spend the rest of your life with, hey, just feel free. It's part of life. Anything can happen. And when it happens that you have a sickness or something like that, that is not the end of life. Don't allow anybody to talk you down. You are still in the image of God. Jesus still loves you, and nothing can change that. Just take care of yourself. The medication which will be administered to you, just take it well, and I feel you will do better. God bless you. My name is Reverend Randolph Menya, and I'm an associate pastor of Radiant Place, which is located at Tesano, Acquah Total Filling Station, and my senior pastor, Apostle Emmanuel Inkum, the Apostle of Grace. So in case you want to come and serve with worship with us, you can just be there Sundays 7 a.m., Fridays 6 p.m., and your life will be a blessing. God bless you.
Amen. That's Pastor Randolph Menya there. And Councillor Adofoli. Councillor Adofoli, please, your last word.
So my last word go with we who are in the faith. See, sometimes when we go to illness and sickness, we want to healing. We go to places, but medically know what you have, where you are, before you go with any other kind of approach. You just don't go because I have a sickness, I believe so. With that, even get it proper knowledge about it, and you are taking all sorts of medication, going to different places, it won't help you. Sometimes some of these things even cause more trouble for you as a family. Right. The avoidable marriage, as I mentioned, your marriage can be unknown by the courts because of some of these checks that you don't do. And again, you could want marriage to last for life, but some of these mistakes will cause a partner to say, hey, I can't be with you because he cannot be trusted. So I plead with you, let's do the right thing. My office is on the Spinters with the Marriage Consult Limited. I work there. We do all sorts of work, ADR, counseling, premarital counseling, postmarital counseling, individual counseling, and so on and so forth.
Wow, thank you all so much. Today we've been discussing if you think it's important for couples to get tested for HIV/AIDS before marriage, why or why not. I think that our doctor, our counsellor and our pastor have given us great views today about the topic and what they think about it. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've been blessed, and I've been educated, and I've been enlightened. So I'm really grateful that you have come to join us here on Star 103.5 FM.